Greetings from my parents' house in Buffalo. So what does that mean for your reading? This is all about the message of your prayer being answered. We are heavily channeling the archetype of buffalo. Yes, I'm aware it's an American bison, but in America, we call this good old guy a buffalo. So we're, working with also 2025. If you have not seen my prior videos, 2025 is holding the archetype of buffalo, which is all about your prayer being answered as long as you act as if your prayer has been answered. So I want to dedicate, this moment of being in Buffalo and to transmit a message about whatever this prayer is in your heart that you yearn to, actualize or manifest or feel or heal. And that being said, it's really important for you to just say a prayer before this. So I'm gonna need you to pause the video and just take a moment and really get clear. This next level of you, what are you yearning to manifest and heal? And what would be so awesome, to co-collaborate with life? This prayer that you have, and just pause this video, take this moment, because that's gonna affect the energy of this reading. So take a moment and then come on down. Okay. So now that you've paused and said your prayers, let's do it. Okay. First, we're just gonna go. Also, I don't know why I didn't bring my decks, but luckily my mom has Animal Apothecary here, so we're only using Animal Apothecary, but that's cool. And we're just gonna pull for each section, we'll pull a few cards to get a bigger picture understanding, because usually I use body type too. Okay, so just the prayer itself, whatever that energy of that prayer that you just shared with life, with yourself, any love and wisdom and guidance your prayer wants to share. There's 3 right there. Okay, now the journey of that prayer being answered. So just really get, what did you write down, or what did you say your prayer to life? What was it? Okay. Now, whatever this thing that feels difficult, the block to getting to this prayer answered, or your own, issues, or your own isms, or your own, things that you put up that, honestly, they're all there to get you to this thing that you want. That's the whole point. But sometimes it just feels like they're a big freaking block. So whatever resistant, whatever the current difficulty, the annoyance, the frustration, the brain fog. Man, I'm just pulling 3 for each of these. Okay, and then you're going to take your hand and you're going to put it under your shirt on your heart. So we're going to get a message from your prayer answered. So I just, you have so many nerve endings in your hand. Your heart is so powerful. So we want to create this connection to our heart. And I just want you to think about gratitude for the prayer being answered, because that's who we're going to connect to, prayer answered. So just take a moment and think about that gratitude. Have gratitude for your prayer being answered. Even if it's hard to get into that gratitude, just see the prayer being answered. This weight of oh my God, this, I did it. Okay. All right, let's see what we got. So, hell yeah. We're not doing bad. That makes sense. Oh, My God, I love this. Okay. The other message that I just want to share is that there's something about whatever you do, do not give up on this prayer, because the resistance I had to filming this video, the fact that I didn't even forget. I was like, I don't need my cards, even though I was like, I need to do a prayer answered, film a prayer answered video there. And then I'm like, I don't need my cards. And then like, also just kind of like, oh, my parents are in the other room. Like, I don't feel like I have privacy. And then I filmed this almost halfway through and it wasn't filming. And it's like, but I kept freaking going. Like, I didn't want to, I still did it. I still went there, and I finally feel like, oh, okay, I'm getting into, there was all these like things, you know, what might be looked at as like roadblocks or things that just like, you know, I could just relax. I could just use this time to like not, whatever. I still went for it and I still did it. So I just want to share that there's a message there about, you know, sometimes there's this going towards these things we love, going on that healing journey, going toward whatever it is that we're sharing. It's often like annoying and there's resistance, but there's this point where when you do keep going, all of a sudden you're in it and you're in the flow and it feels good. And it's like, you know, like they say, like going to the gym, like they say, like the folks out there say, like, no one really wants to go to the gym. I mean, there are those people, but when you're there, then it feels good. Okay, let's get to this prayer reading. Your prayer. So just think about whatever you said. I'm going to think about my prayer. I did do a prayer before this. Just really picture that, because then we'll go in. So just picture the prayer that you said. What did you ask for? Okay. Well, we can't make this up. Prayer freaking answered. Like, it's so awesome because in my last reading, like, this buffalo card also came out, and even a reading someone bought an instant reading, so I did it here, and it's like, it's all about buffalo. It's all freaking about buffalo. So let's just talk about your prayer wants you to act as if your prayer has been answered. That's what this card used to say, but sometimes when you work with publishers, they have you shorten things or cut things or whatever, so it just says prayer answered. But the real deal with this card and the original OG was act as if your prayer has been answered, because that is really the power and the message of buffalo. So centuries ago, when the Plain Indians, you know, first of all, buffalo was life with a capital Life for these peoples, and it was such a huge source of, it was food, it was clothing, it was shelter, it was toys, it was the stampedes that were created by the herds would create these divots in the flat plains that allowed water to come through. And, you know, there's different tribes within these peoples, and some would do these buffalo prayer dances before they would go on the hunt. And it would sometimes look like one person dressed as buffalo and another person dancing in oneness with buffalo before they went on the hunt. And this symbol of being in oneness with buffalo, of literally acting out that the prayer has already been answered, of this, and it's so beautiful through dance, you know, and this is all my interpretation from the outside looking in, but I'm like, this is genius. This is act as if your prayer has been answered. So you're already in that vibration. So your prayer is literally telling you, act as if your prayer has been answered. And there's this massive abundance that also wants to come. You know, buffalo represents abundance, but look what is coming above is the bee. So the bee represents your purpose in this life, your gift that you're meant to share. So bees pollinate about 80% of the crop that humanity eats. Their purpose, one of their purposes, is the greatest gift to all of the creatures of Mother Earth. They are helping our crop and sustaining us so we can evolve, so animals can prosper and live and have food. So this talks about there's this gift that you're meant to share, that you're meant to share it with humanity, and it's a part of your purpose, and it's a part of what keeps, you know, humanity growing. So that is the message from your prayer, card number 1. I pulled 3. Your prayer also says you're going through this massive transformation where you're leaving behind this version of yourself you used to be, and you're turning into this like power phoenix, but look at how the tail is still in the fire. So you're not fully transformed from this last version of yourself. Like you're almost out of this last version. And I think it's like the version of you that you really kind of aligned with in the last year. And I think in the last year, you've done so much growth, and like, we love that version that, you know, got us to this level. But there's something about that version is no longer able to sustain holding the answered prayer. Like that version of us has its own limitations. So that version is coming to an end. And if there's any uncomfort and difficulty, it's because your tail is still in the fire. So, but the tail means like the tail end of it, like the end. So what do we have here that you're turning into? So when we see a colorful animal, that's self-expression. When we see an animal flying, that is liberation. When we see a picture of a bird flying, colorful bird flying, that's like thrice as big, 4 times as big as a human, that is talking about like a new superhuman potential of like fully being who you are and being so free and liberated being who you are, and actually being able, it's because you're in your true self that you can fly. It's because you're in your true self that you understand it's the most liberating thing. It's because you're in your true self that you become super freaking magnetic and are able to have like this reciprocity with the work that you do. So this massive transformation is already happening for you. And the third card from your prayer is opportunity. And we have another bee, but what is woodpecker knocking its beak on a wood like up to 10,000 times a day? Is it 10 or is it 12,000? You know, that's like major, like, I'm going for this thing. I'm going for this thing. Just, okay, that's kind of like the example of like, I don't really want to shoot this. I don't have my card. You know, working with like, it's so weird. It's like, oh, her card deck is so new. I'm like, she never touches it. Like, but she does sometimes. But I'm like, you know, my card deck, it feels a certain way and it has my vibration and energy and all this stuff. And it's like, you know, oh, and then they're in the other room and it's like, I don't really want to do that. Oh, and then I film it and it wasn't even it's like, no, I kept freaking going. And I gotta say, like, this reading is already like, I feel more in alignment with this reading than I did in the one prior. So this is about whatever this thing is, your dream, your prayer. Do not give up. It will lead to some opportunity that is aligned with your purpose. See, like you have this bee. So whatever your prayer is a part of like another highest potential, is a part of your purpose to experience this prayer answered. Okay, the journey of the prayer being answered, we have 3 cards. Yes, it is a part of your destiny path to experience this. And yet again, we have the bee. This is about your this is a part of your journey. Like this was meant for you to experience this prayer answered, whatever this thing is of this healing or this this next level of understanding life that you yearn for. It's a part of your purpose. And another thing, a part of this is understanding the darkness and understanding the pain and the difficulty, because King Snake is like, you're able to transmute, you're able to turn your pain and difficulties into gold. And for some of you, that means that you are here because whatever it is you're sharing is something uplifting, and you turned your darkness into some kind of gold and light that you're sharing with others, and that some of you will even be able to make money from this. Now these overseeing eyes, and it's funny because I had this in a reading yesterday with a client, and it was like, you know, I never looked at, this is the Philosopher's Stone, this alchemist symbol. that all this going on inside, the alchemy, the snakes, the purpose of the bee, and that life is protecting you from above and below. But I almost realized looking at this, that this was about wherever you are at in your stage, there's this major protection around you. You're like in a protective bubble. So the things that feel like annoying that you're going through are all amazing because nothing is going to harm you. And it's all this like, for you to process, for you to heal, for you to face these things, for you to grow. And you're in this protective bubble, allowing you to go through the agony of that without some like horrible thing happening from it. It's like you're just facing these things within yourself, and there's something protecting you while you're kind of working through these things. So that's really cool. Your journey of prayer answered is like, so this card, the chicken head card, get out of your head, is about if your view of your potential and yourself is not expansive, then it's not true. Because if there are infinite possibilities and you're only zoning in on one scary, limiting idea or concept, if the thing is just going around like a circles in your head, ruminating or just thinking, like, that's the most ridiculous thing. We have to understand in this quantum reality, in freaking the physical, and just this life, there are infinite possibilities at every single moment. So why would you be putting a really limited story onto whatever the thing is that you're hoping and yearning for? This is saying get like way more expanded because it's better than you can imagine. So this tells me the prayer, this is on the journey of the prayer. Okay, so the journey of the prayer is like, it's in gestation right now. Like you haven't fully given birth to this thing, and it's going to be better than you can imagine, because the dragonfly is, depending on the species, can be underwater like 3 to 7 years. So it's like, it only understands itself as this nymph creature underwater. It really can't comprehend what it's about, what it's destined to become. But there's something that pulls it towards that, right? It pulls it towards this expansion and this next level of itself. So for me, and how I see this relating is that there is something in your DNA. There's something that is a part. Remember, this prayer answered is a part of your purpose. Like it's in you. It was just, this next level of you it's supposed to be, it's yours, but you can't fully comprehend it yet because it's like you're at a 3rd grade level, but this next level of you is going to be like at this like, college level or whatever. So it's like you're going through all these understandings, you're going up this ladder to become this thing, but you can't fully tap into it 100% because it's so much bigger than how you even see yourself. So this message, and like a lot in my next workshop coming up, I'll talk about it at the end, is about becoming, really stepping into your most expansive self. And like, how big can you dream? Because why do we limit it to these little things? There's something really awesome coming for you. And it also is that, again, we have flight and we have color on the rainbows, color on the wings. But here's the thing about the wings of a dragonfly. They're not rainbows, they're iridescent, so they reflect the light and create rainbows. So to me, that means you're actually, so light, creation, source, you're going to be reflecting and sharing with people these rainbows, and it's not coming from you, it's coming from source. Like you're channeling, you're able to share messages that empower people. It's like beyond you. This thing you're evolving into is like, you're becoming this open thing that just shares freaking rainbows with people. And in that, there's this liberation. You're able to fly. So this next level of you, and you're on the journey to your prayer, one, it's already in gestation. It's already, you're pregnant with it, but it's going to give you wings, and you've never had wings before. So you can kind of think you could gather how that feels, but it's like, it's better than you can imagine, like the card says. Okay, whatever the thing is that feels difficult, of course. So you're currently going through a breakthrough, and this is about, and also the master manifester. So let's just talk about this. Every time you level up, you have to face the things inside of yourself that have been keeping you in that past level. So this coffin is about, like, there's then this ending of a past self, of a limited understanding of yourself, and it doesn't want to die, so it's going to attack you. So just deal with it. When you level up, you will often get triggered. You will often like feel set back. You will often have all the old parts of you keeping you in this like place because it doesn't want you. It doesn't, because it's like, oh, I'm going to die. This limited understanding version I am is going to die because they're about to pop off and expand. So that's just a part of your level up. So that's what the thing that feels difficult right now is asking you to understand, is that you're going through a breakthrough. Okay, master manifester, you're going to manifest this thing, but you have to face the things in you that have been keeping you in this limited understanding of yourself. And that feels scary. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like insecurity, because we have to face these parts of ourselves that, you know, have these limited understandings. It's like the chicken head, okay, is like, no, stay here. Don't do that. So I think it's whatever is difficult is a great sign that something is moving and something is shifting, because you're growing to get to this next level of yourself. And then you are what you think. What is the vision that you're nourishing? That is like, what vision are you nourishing? This or this? And now that you know, like, oh, am I having a breakthrough? Like, is all this like anxiety, is these weird issues with my partner, is this like difficult money situation, like, is this because there's some kind of massive change happening to me? The answer is yes, but you have to see it as that and not go to the like, everything is horrible. Okay, last but not least, your prayer answered. Unknown gift. Nightingale of Paradise. So I think there's something, and I think there's something being answered that is opening a door for something even bigger in yourself that you weren't even aware of. So like, this card is really, really mystical, and it's almost like it comes from, it's like this, it's like a divine gift, right? There's this, you know, this is kind of divine, like, oh wow, you're able to channel something bigger than yourself that like shares rainbows with people. So and this, see, like the nightingale's singing these rainbows, it's singing in the night. So there's something about, like sharing a message, sharing something in a way that's super magnetic, because people would go, I believe it was in England back in the day, I don't know how long ago, but like a while ago, and they would, you know, violinists would come, they would like, people would gather and go into the forest, and like people would play music with the nightingales at night, because it was just like, so like, it was like life's poetry, and everyone was like, this is so freaking cool. So that level of magnetism, where not only are there people like in awe coming to see you, but awe like participating and supporting this thing that you have to share, which is so freaking cool. So that is what the first card of your prayer answered wants you to know. The second card is magnetism through gratitude. So absolutely get grateful, put your hand on your heart and just get grateful that the prayer is answered. That like, just get grateful that it's already, that you have this to look forward to. Thank life, thank God, think now that that's what you have to look forward to. And just like, you know, nourishment while waiting, like you're waiting for your prayer answered is like, okay, you're waiting, your teenage hawk, your baby hawk. And like, what do you have to do to become visionary leader hawk? You know, what education do you need to learn? What So let me give you an example. A long time ago, it was agonizing to do workshops because I would get so tons of people have a hard time public speaking. And for me, what it like also hijacked, like, okay, that's like already normal for people to be scared public speaking, but it triggered, my sexual abuse and not being able to use my voice, and a level of terror that was just like, oh, now I have to like have like a PTSD attack and the entire week before I do a thing. And like, it was just agonizing because it was like, and I'm so sure so many of you who've dealt with any painful emotional issues or PTSD, like doing the thing you love also comes with triggers and a lot of pain. And that's another thing I'm going to get way more into and talk about more going forward, because I just think there's a whole thing about manifesting for people that have had traumas or certain mental illnesses or PTSD, and that's a whole other thing. But that being said, so what did I do? The thing I love the most caused me the greatest pain, yet I had this like affinity towards it, and I wanted to be in front of the public, and I wanted to do my workshops, because when I could click into it, it felt amazing, but often it was just like, it was horrible. I went and I took an improv class. Everyone's there for comedy, whatever. And I'm like, I'm here to overcome my fear. And I did it. It was like a month and a half, and it worked. It legit healed like 90% of my stuff with public speaking for workshops, because I don't know, there's just something about being on stage and having to think of something quickly and hope, and if you're lucky it's witty, and like, and everyone trying to do it, that just kind of makes you a bit more like relaxed. So the whole point of this, what is your future self doing that you need to do now? Like, there's absolutely, for me to get to this next level, I need to educate myself about certain things, like, and if you don't feel like I can't take a class, utilize YouTube, utilize ChatGPT. Like, how can you educate yourself? What knowledge, what information that is going to help you to get to this next level of yourself? Because that is how you become the prayer freaking answered, is you educate yourself. Think, okay, I know that my future self is doing this. So what do I need to do to learn how they're doing that, to prepare how they're doing that, to nourish the freaking vision? The nourishment while you're waiting. Okay, and then last but not least, metamorphosis. Like, this transformation for you is not just, this one is not just transformation. This is total different creature of yourself, right? Like, from the nymph creature underwater to the flying dragonfly. Like, there is something from the human to the flying massive, like pterodactyl size phoenix. There is something so big happening for you, and it has to do with this flight, this freedom and this flight of totally being who you are, and this self-expression, and then feeling safe within yourself to share yourself on that level. So that is your reading of your prayer answered. And speaking of feeling safe, to be seen, safe in your body, to share like your heart's deepest desires, I want to invite you to my I Own It workshop, March 8th. It's coming up, and there will be a replay if you miss it, but it's also a part of my I Am Empowered membership program, which, going forward, I think there's this, one of the biggest things I want to focus on is our ability to feel safe in our bodies, having our, priming and working with our nervous system, working with our bodies to feel safe to be seen, to feel safe to make mistakes, to feel safe to share our work even when it's not perfect, to feel safe, okay? Because when you don't feel safe, you're gonna block yourself. And as much as you're trying to share your work with humanity and to share what you do, there's some kind of energetic force field, because like how your nervous system and everything is that it's like creating this like a block around you. So I am here for all of us to be working with our bodies to feel safe in ourselves, to feel safe in the world, so we can fully own what it is we are here to share with humanity, and we are here to fully own our futures. And in that, like, there's this new kind of in owning this thing that it is that we're here to answer our own prayers, to have these next levels of expansion for ourselves. We have to work with ourselves. The body is the container, the body is the holder. We have to work with our body to learn how to hold abundance and more success, because like more is more is more is more, and often more, a lot, like more, there's more joy, more grief, more money, more problems, like it's all the things. So if there's this more that you're looking to experience, you have to have a nervous system that can hold this more energy and not get triggered by every annoying thing that in the past was like always a big trigger for you. So building this tolerance and this self-regulation and having autonomy and self-authority over your own body. And in doing so, you're creating a body that can hold, that can be the container for the dream that you are here to manifest, that the prayer you are here to freaking embody. So if that sounds cool, awesome, fun, check out my membership, check out just that workshop if that's something you want to try out, all below. And prayer freaking answered. World peace forever. That's the real prayer. All right, I love you.